Hello, I'm Andrew, and welcome to another game with the white pieces. We'll kick things off with e4. Our opponent responds e5. Knight c3. The Vienna. Okay, they respond knight f6. Can't draw arrows. There we go. Knight f6. So f4. The Vienna Gambit. Now there are two ways to decline this: d6 and d5. d5 is main line. And this is a dreadful way to decline the gambit with knight c6. The reason is it's essentially a Halloween gambit without having to give up a knight. Now that my opponent's knight is sat on e5, I can go ahead and play d4, kicking the knight away, either to g6 or back to c6, where it came from. And then we're going to play e5, attacking the f6 knight, and the f6 knight is going to have to go back to g8. Now, occasionally, people will play queen e7, and that's not a good move, because after queen e2, we're going to get knight d5 in, hitting the queen, hitting this sensitive c7 square as well. So retreating the knight back is absolutely the right move. Now we must play knight f3 to protect against any queen h4 checks. And here, I think we play bishop c4. And after captures, queen e2. I think that looks right. Bishop c4. There's no d5. We have this covered twice. Now, let me try and remember. There is a line where we can actually just give up the pawn and castle. No, we should play the principled way, I think. Queen e2. The pawn is now pinned to my opponent's king, so can't capture. So I think just castling here is probably good. There's still a pin on my opponent's king. And yeah, we're going to have these double pawns, but we have just such fantastic development that I think we get more than enough compensation for it. So I'll be taking here, and knight g6 doesn't work, so my opponent is going to have to castle. Yep. And now I think I just pin the knight to my opponent's queen. f6 isn't playable because the pawn is pinned to the king, so I'm just stockpiling pressure here. The only way to reinforce this knight would be to play rook e8, and then I would be playing bishop takes on f7 check, picking up the rook, and I'm still winning the knight. So my opponent would have knight g6, which would threaten to win my queen as well. So yeah, we'd get something now like bishop takes, knight takes. But then I'm winning the knight, and if my opponent takes, I'm taking here. I'm wondering if I just keep my queen in the game somehow with queen g3. I'm still hitting my opponent's queen. Then they could maybe play queen d6, offering a trade here. I mean, I take here, they capture back. I take, they capture back. I take. I'm a pawn up. But I have an isolated pawn and I have doubled pawns. But I do have a pass pawn. I think this probably is winning. Now my opponent doesn't have to grab the bishop, but if they don't, I'm just going to be getting out of here, so yeah. let's not rush to take with the bishop. It's probably far better to take with the rook. So if I take with the rook, my opponent just moves the king. I'm getting my other rook to the f-file. Take with the rook and they interpose with their bishop. I'm just taking this piece. Then if my opponent plays here though, then I'm just dropping the bishop back and maintaining the same threat. I don't know, this seems slightly more formidable. Wow, okay, yeah, so they drop the king back, and now I think, I mean obviously e6 looks very good, but so does rook f1. I'm threatening mate here, so they would have to connect their rooks, so therefore they would have to move the bishop. Bishop could come here, and I play here. The bishop can't go there, so bishop here doesn't work, bishop here doesn't work, bishop here. Ooh, yeah, I think rook f1 is pretty killer. Pretty killer. Yeah. So I just kick the bishop here. And got to get the rook out the way, and I think the easiest way to do that is probably to take the pawn, and then we're going to look to push e6, e7. So if I take the pawn and then they offer a rook trade, trade rooks here, drop the bishop back, lose the pawn, but push. I'm still threatening back rank mate as well, actually. So I think we take on c7 and just start advancing my passed pawn. Yeah. I think I can take the rook, and after takes, I can push e6. Because if they capture, they're hanging mate here. So they'd need to create Luft. Yeah, so I think I take on c, play this real quick. And if rook takes on c4, I've just won the game. So Luft must be created. I think the right idea is to move to d3. I think I could just push e7. I think I can push e7 because if my opponent captures on e7, then I simply have mate. So I push e7 and my opponent plays king to g8. Then I check my opponent's king away. Yeah, e7 works, but I think we could run into a perpetual perhaps. Which with 92 seconds on my clock might be what I'm playing. Yeah, so bishop c4 check, my opponent runs back, I play here and my opponent captures here, I've got this, I play here. I think I just want to hold on to the pawn. Okay, yeah. We've successfully trapped the bishop. The rook is going to fall. We are going to promote, and we've got 34 seconds to win this game, which should be nice and easy. We just leave the bishop here. I was trying to just do it with the rook, but let's not be fancy. Let's just... Time is low. Let's do this and this. Okay, so if we just drop back to the analysis board, then here you can see why knight c6 is not such a good idea. After we're capturing the pawn, black is able to win the pawn back, but at the cost of having to put their f6 knight back on its starting square, allowing us to take a extremely strong center and also develop two pieces in the meantime. Bishop c4 was the right idea, as was queen e2, as was castling, which I'm happy to see. And oh wow, I could have actually just played this bishop f7 idea immediately because it comes with this beautiful discovered check and all kinds of crazy shenanigans. But I don't think I gave up the advantage by just capturing the bishop. And now I think, yes, bishop g5. And this was absolutely correct. Okay, so the engine actually did slightly prefer bishop takes on f7, but of course after rook takes on f7 we are just completely winning. The passed pawn is far too strong, so once we are able to get a rook onto e1, we're just eventually going to be able to find a way to promote, or black is going to have to give up one of their minor pieces in order to try and stop us from promoting. As always, let me know in the comments what you would play against e5 if you were white, and if you play e5 with the black pieces, what would you play against the Vienna? And of course, I will see you in the next one. Take care.